Hello, my name is Ron Windred from askronandsue.com.au. Today we're going to have a look at creating or building a manifesting or healing grid using crystals. I find best results with clear quartz crystals like these little points, about 2 to 5 centimeters in length. You can also, if you want to, use citrine points or amethyst points. I've had equal results using them as well. Before we get started, one of the things we need to work out is what is it that we want to manifest, or who is it that we want to provide healing for, depending upon what the purpose of the grid is. Manifesting can be used for anything. For example, you might want a new car, in which case I'd suggest getting a picture of the new car you want in the exact colour and all that sort of thing. And because we're going to use this to put in the middle of the circle in a minute or so. Another important thing with manifesting is to be absolutely sure that you really want what you're asking for and that you're ready and prepared to take it on board. For example, a lot of people say, wow, it'd be great to have $1 million, I'll manifest $1 million. But one of the things you need to consider is, have you done the personal, emotional, spiritual, intellectual, even physical growth that's necessary to be the type of person who would have $1 million, who'd know what to do with $1 million. I hope you understand what I'm getting at here. So let's get into it. We've worked out what we want. That's critical. Pretty hard to manifest something if you don't know exactly, and I mean exactly what it is that you want, and a time frame for it to come into being. Next thing is to select an area where you want to put the grid. So whatever room or area that you're going to put it in, it's a very good idea to get in and physically clean that area. I mean, get a broom, sweep the floor, dust, just get the whole room as clean as you can, without going overboard on it, of course. And then to energetically clean the area. I find this is best done with a white sage smudge stick. You just light it and smudge around the whole room, and that will remove or negate any negative energies that may still be present. So now we've got a nice clean environment to work in. Next thing is to select something like a card table. I've got a card table here today. Put a nice cloth on it. You can just use a plain card table too if you want to. Or it might be the end of a table, or you can put it on the floor, or some area where you can just leave your manifesting grid where it's not going to be in the road. Okay, so let's get started. So what you need is your crystals. Here we've got a dozen or so natural clear quartz crystal points. And what you do is you set them out in a circle. So I prefer to use the points of a clock. So you use your 12, 3, 6, 9 points. And then I just fill it in between. Now, some people like to do this in a precise order, like come round clockwise. Some people like to go anti-clockwise. I found it doesn't make a great deal of difference, so I just fill it in. And it doesn't, so there doesn't have to be a set order to it. But what is important is that you get it as nice and as round, without being overboard on it, as you can. Then you'll need a 13th crystal. Now it can be just another one of these, which it normally would be, if you're just using 13 the same. I'm just using a slightly bigger one here today. You can even go bigger again. Some people like to put nice, large, polished points in the middle. It's entirely up to you. It really doesn't matter what you use. The next thing to do is to put the picture of the item you want into the middle of your circle. If you don't have a picture, you can use a piece of paper and you can write out on it what it is that you want. Now here I've already written out what it is that I would like to have manifest. And I've folded it in half with the writing in the middle. Now, this is not an absolute requirement either, but if you're going to leave this permanently in place for a little while, perhaps you don't want people to see exactly what's written down there. So it's in the middle of the circle, but it's nice and private. So we've got in our grid 12 crystal points with the 13th one yet to come. We've got the item that we want to manifest. Now you take your activating crystal and you put it in your hands in like this in prayer position, and you say something like, may the item, and here you describe it, whatever it is that you're particularly after, that I want to have manifest become available and to me on, and here you just state a date. Now I always put a little rider, and I always say that may it be for my highest good or for the highest good of all involved, and that I can have this or even something better. Amen. And then you put your activating crystal in the middle of the circle. That's it. It's all set. Now you just leave it until the item that you wish to have manifest comes into being. There's one important little point that I just forgot to mention on the way through, and it's because I just take it for granted that people would do this, and that is that you clean your crystals before you start. This can be easily accomplished just by running them for a couple of minutes under running water, and so you've got everything's nice and clean and fresh and ready to be worked with. So that's it for manifesting. Now, for healing, it's the same thing, just the details a little bit different. We set our circle in the same way. We put in the middle a picture of the person that's healing's being asked for. Or, if we can't get hold of a picture, we can write out person's name, some identifying factors, like maybe their date of birth and their address. And then we place this in the middle of the circle. Now, some people also like to put in what the complaint is. Like, for example, so-and-so's got cancer and can she be healed of this? Now that you've got that in the middle, we go through the same process with our activating crystal. I ask that the person in the middle of our healing grid be granted healing, that they be returned to their best state of health. Now, I always prefer to go for something general like that rather than specific, because then that can be achieved and even more can be achieved. But it also allows for the fact that some people really like to, or have a blueprint, a contract when they come into life that they're going to carry this with them. So, like, we've got to allow for that as well. Then we put the crystal in the middle, and it's set. That's it. You just leave it there now, walk away, leave it in its position until the items manifest or until the healing's occurred for the person. Now, sometimes it's impractical to leave this sitting in an area, or you just don't want to. So here what we can do is you do all the process just the same as we've done up till now, but what we're going to do is we're going to set a time, and we're going to set that the energy continue until the completion. And how we do this is we draw a tree of life symbol over our grid. Now, a tree of life is produced by scribing or just moving your hand over the top of the circle in a single straight line. Then we put an arc out to the left. It's like a bracket. And then we put one to the right. Then we put a further one out here to the left and another one to the right. And then some people like to just hold their hand over it for a moment or so, but while you're doing that, you are carrying the intention and saying to yourself inside that you want this item to be manifest, and that you want it to, the energy to remain in force until such time as it is, or until such time as the healing's taken place. Or you might set an actual time frame. For example, I would like to have this by Friday of next week, or in a year's time, or whatever it is. But you just set it, single line, 2 brackets, and then 2 more, and then you're complete. Now what you can do, because you've set all the energy in force, all the forces are in action, it's just a matter of now completion, and so you can dismantle your grid or circle and go on it from there. Now, I suggest that you do this just as carefully as you set it up, so that you take out your activating crystal, take out the picture or the description of the item required, and go around and undo the circle. I'm just putting them back into a little jar here. You don't have to do this slowly, you can do it quickly, but the main part is that you do it with some little bit of reverence and respect. So that's it for creating a manifesting or healing grid. A simple process, a very effective process. So again, I reiterate, be careful what you ask for. That's it for today. Thank you.